Should you bother with the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount? This week, we take a look at some of my favorite parts from Critical Role's newest edition to 5th edition. Hello players and GMs, I am Reese, and welcome to another video by Jetpack 7. Before we get started, I want to let you all know that Gods and Goddesses Redux is available for purchase. You can see that on the shelf right here behind me. It is a recreation of our very first book, Gods and Goddesses, with a massive overhaul on many of the stat blocks, as well as new gods, subclasses, and adventures. You can find that at our website, which is in the description below. In addition, we will soon be launching our free playtest material page soon. All you'll have to do is sign up on our website, and you'll gain access to the document, which will be updated every week or 2 weeks with new items, spells, feats, subclasses, whatever. It'll all be totally free for you all to bring to your table and enjoy. And lastly, of course, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the friggin' world to us, and every little bit really does help. Okay, enough with the announcements. Let's talk about this new book. We've recently gotten our hands on the newest creation by Critical Role and now official D&D canon material, The Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. For those who are not familiar, this is the campaign setting in which Critical Role's current campaign is based. Now, I've already seen a number of 20 to 30 minute long videos giving in-depth reviews about this book, so I won't be doing that. I also don't want to give too many actual details about the contents of the book, because I think people should buy it if they can. So instead of giving you intimate details about every subclass and spell in the book, I've decided to talk about my 5 favorite specific parts of this book. So without delay, let's go ahead and hop in with my number 5, which might actually be my favorite thing about the book, but it isn't actually content as much as it is community support. The cast of Critical Role is very vocal about how much they love and appreciate their community of fans. They receive loads of fan art every week and air it on their stream. They work with some of their fans to create items that eventually are sold on their online store, and this book is just another example of how much they love their community. When they were working on Explorer's Guide, they made a deal with Wizards of the Coast to ensure that roughly half of the art inside the book is actually created by their fan community. It is one thing to thank the fans and say you love them, but it is another level to bring them into your project and let their work be published within yours as a thank you for their support. Not much else to say about this one, just that I think it is a testament to Critical Role's dedication to their fan base, a level of dedication you don't really see in many other places. Number 4 is one of the new items in the book, the Mace of the Black Crown. There are 2 sections of items I was particularly attracted to: the Vestiges of Divergence and the Arms of the Betrayers. All of these items are wickedly powerful and can level up with you. They begin in a dormant state, then they can awaken, and then they become exalted, getting more and more powerful with each new level. By the time they're exalted, they are extremely potent legendary tier weapons. The reason I like the Arms of Betrayers a bit more is, well, I like evil stuff. And this stuff is bad. The Mace of the Black Crown in particular captures in just the best way what it feels like to be a freaking super powerful devil. All of the Arms of the Betrayers are sentient items with some sort of evil being inhabiting them. This one in particular is a devil trying to recruit more souls for Asmodeus. The reason I like this weapon is that it captures the feeling of being a devil without adding too many frills and complicated mechanics like some of the other items in this book. Don't get me wrong, I love some magic items with unique interactions and whatnot, but a few of them in here just get a little too overwhelming for my taste. This one adds fire damage, it allows you to summon a couple different types of devils, gives a couple other perks, and of course the art for it looks incredible. It is a straightforward weapon that guarantees whoever wielding it feels like Sauron in the prologue of Fellowship of the Ring. Number 3 is one of the new spells in the guide called Ravenous Void. For Critical Role's second campaign, Matt Mercer created a new type of magic called Dunamancy, which involves the manipulation of gravity and time. And let me just be the first to say this. It's cool. And it's all in this book. They added 15 new spells in here, ranging from cantrips to 9th level spells, and they are all very sweet. It was actually difficult for me to choose my favorite one, but I went with Ravenous Void because it is arguably the most potent of them all, probably because it's a 9th level spell. Ravenous Void essentially creates a 20-foot sphere of extreme gravitational pull, so powerful that anything within 100 feet of it is pulled towards it and eventually, and I quote, annihilated by the spell. Not disintegrated, not killed, annihilated. You simply cease to exist. That is some wild imagery, and when I first read it, I knew I had to put the sucker on one of my big baddies at some point. Updates to come on how that goes. I love this spell because it is extremely powerful and can single-handedly end a battle as any other 9th level spell should. There are no questions about its mechanics, there is nothing confusing about it, it fits smoothly into the 5e system, and it fits the 9th level spell slot, unlike a few of the other spells at that same level. The other spells in this book are amazing too, but this one is definitely one of my favorite spells across all of D&D. My second favorite part of this guide is very near and dear to my heart because it is an awesome subclass for my personal favorite class to play, the Graviturgy Wizard. Obviously now this is an extension of Dunamancy that I mentioned in number 3, but more specifically, it is a wizard archetype that focuses on manipulating gravity around their targets. There is another wizard school in this book as well, but this one is definitely my preferred one because some of its features would be incredibly fun to play with. Ultimately, that is why I loved playing a wizard so much to begin with. It felt like I could do anything with the absurd number of spells I had at my disposal, and this wizard archetype encourages creative gameplay and has already spurred me on to think of fun interactions I can use with existing spells that would be amazing to see in the game. The Graviturgy Wizard can do stuff like increase or decrease the density of a creature, create an area of intense gravity that crushes creatures under its force, and my personal favorite, increase fall damage. Why is that one my favorite? It is clearly the least potent of the things that I mentioned. Allow me to explain. Because it's funny. I have always loved the idea of using telekinesis to float a creature 100 feet into the air and then just dropping the spell. But now, I can float them 100 feet into the air, drop the spell, and increase the gravity in that area so that they slam into the ground even harder. And I can do that a number of times equal to my intelligence modifier. It is just another wonderful way to manipulate battles with a wizard, which I will always support. And, once again, it isn't confusing, and it all fits in nicely with 5e. Now, on to my favorite part of this book, and one that I've seen a lot of people talking about, the Echo Knight. The Echo Knight is a fighter archetype, and boy, oh boy, do I like what they did with this subclass. Not only is it my favorite part of the book, it is easily my favorite fighter archetype in 5th edition. The core of this archetype is the first feature you get called Manifest Echo. It essentially allows you to create a shadow of yourself that exists in physical form and can interact in certain ways with the battle. You can do all sorts of stuff with this thing. To start, you can swap places with it. You can attack from where you summoned the Echo instead of from your own space. You can make opportunity attacks with it, and you can make an additional attack with it a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier, and that's all at 3rd level. As you level up, you gain the ability to look through its senses, block attacks with it, gain temp HP when it's destroyed, and the capstone allows you to make 2 Echoes, and you can do all that same stuff, but now with 2 of them. This is a freaking cool archetype. It offers a totally new playstyle to the fighter that I felt the class was sorely lacking. Obviously, fighter is already a strong class, and you could argue that this is a little overtuned, but I don't think it really is. This archetype puts you in 2 places at once, and allows you to flit around combat in ways that normally only a monk or a rogue could do. Its focus is to open up options for the fighter, which is pretty unique for the class considering it usually consists of just walking up and hitting things a lot. Fighters have always been a pretty limited class, whether you're playing ranged or melee, but this archetype opens that up and doesn't sacrifice any power for the features it receives. The whole reason I'm hesitant to play a fighter is because I'm worried that I would just get bored during combat. I don't like run up and hit 'em combats. I like options, and this fighter archetype is the first one I've seen that truly opens up some fun options, in my opinion. And frankly, it's just the first archetype that has made me want to actually play a fighter. So those are my 5 favorite specific parts of the book, so I'll just go ahead and give my final thoughts. Overall, I love this book. It gives plenty of information to allow you to build your own campaign within the setting. I will say that it does get rather specific, which may feel limiting to certain groups who want a more customized campaign, but with a little bit of elbow grease, I think you could easily open up the world enough to allow you to make it fit more with what you want than what Critical Role is currently playing. That said, this book has some amazing material in it. There are a few awesome adventures that I didn't mention because I feel like it isn't fair to really rate adventures if you haven't physically played through them. Plenty more amazing items ranging from uncommon to artifacts, and overall, I really love the world that Matt Mercer created for this campaign. It is full of political strife and corruption. Deities are actively involved in its storylines, which isn't something we often get to play with as DMs and players. There's a bestiary in the back that has some super unique creatures that can fit into any campaign, not just one based in Wildemount. I think it's safe to say that I very much enjoy this book and that I think it has a place at everyone's table, even those who may not watch Critical Role. Alright, those are my thoughts about the book. Let me know in the comments if you've gotten your copy and what your thoughts are, or if I just convinced you to get one. Also, remember to keep an eye out for our free content, which will be going up on our website very, very soon. But until then, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you around.